Hey, welcome. My name's Ben. This is my devlog. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to give some updates on to the progress of my game, Broken, my first game that I'm building in Unity. But before I start explaining myself, cheers. Happy Tuesday. Merry Christmas and yo. So, for those that have been following my channel and for those that care, they probably have noticed that I've not done anything like this for a while. And the last time I did one of these, I said the same thing. I've not done one of these for a while and sort of caught up with myself. I make no apology. I've got nothing to owe to anyone. I'm sorry if you get bored, but you can always jump off. Like these devlogs are, in my mind at least, a sort of a documentary recording my history, and it might be something I look back in the future to see what I was feeling, what I was doing in the past. I like to document stuff. I like to journal it. YouTube to me is like a nice way to journal stuff. Anyway, that's a load of bullshit. You don't care about that. Broken, my game in Unity. Let's just get that going for shits and giggles. So as I say, I haven't done anything on it for probably about 6 weeks now. And the reason for that is not because I've lost interest and I don't care about the game anymore, but I've got another project on the go which isn't game dev related. Oh god, I forgot how laggy things can be when you're recording and playing shit. It's all caught up with itself. Actually, no. Oh god, this is how long it's been. I just remembered that bug. There's loads of physics going on. Yeah, so basically I've not done anything on this for about 6 weeks because I've had this other project on the go. I've sort of committed myself to testing or doing an MVP for an app idea that a mate's got and actually believe in it. I think it's a good idea. So been testing some stuff on that, which means actually all my free time has gone on that and not this. All my free time until very recently. And crap, I'm not joking. This is the first time I've booted this game up since picking that up, and actually now I'm kind of excited. I want to get back. I forgot how good it looks. It actually is quite slick. Wow. Trees blowing in the wind. Oh, yeah, that would turn. Yeah, anti-grav. This which would slow down time. Yeah. Okay, so long story short, I haven't given up on this, and I'm gonna finish this game off for sure, for sure. Um, but what I have decided to do, since I'm doing this other project and it's taking up my free time, I thought I would be able to sort of relax in my spare time. So when I'm not working on this other project, I might just be sitting at home doing nothing. I don't know, watching TV or whatever. But I can't. Like, I get really angsty and I need to be doing something. So I filled a hole, and that hole is my Game Boy. And those who follow me on Twitter know where I'm going with this. So here's my Game Boy. It's a Game Boy Color, actually. It's not the original GMB, but it's a colour that I've modded with the IPS screen to get a wider screen, brighter screen, slightly higher resolution maybe, and some other features. Either way, basically it's a Game Boy Color dressed up to look like the original Game Boy. Plays the original Game Boys, obviously, because it is a Game Boy, so it plays the original Game Boy carts. Love the hardware, always have. God, like growing up as a kid, I always wanted a Game Boy. I think more than any other console, I've always liked portable devices with a screen on it. If it's portable and it's got a screen on it, I always think, oh, what can you do with it? Like watches, PDAs, data banks, all that stuff I've had as a kid, and I was always fiddling around, just seeing like how can how far can you take this device? And I always like the Game Boy because it's like, well, you can put in another cartridge and you've got another game. And then they got a bit creative with the cartridges and started doing things like the Game Boy the Game Boy camera. You had Mission Impossible, which had I think. Oh, maybe it was the Game Boy Color. Actually, Mission Impossible was full, but you have the infrared port, and you could turn your TV channels over using IR, which was all really cool. But I never had a Game Boy. Very sad story. My brother had a Game Boy after some time. When he had a Game Boy, then I was like, oh, Game Boy, Game Gear. Game Gear, that's cool, because they got a coloured screen. At the time, we couldn't find a Game Gear for love nor money, and the only way to find them back then was through free ads and whatever, like the pop-up printouts. And it was my birthday coming up, and my mum and dad were very, very kind and said, well, what's this Atari Lynx thing? And I knew what an Atari Lynx was, but it wasn't a Game Gear. And I was like, being a grumpy little git, as kids are, yeah, but I want a Game Gear. Anyway, they got me an Atari Lynx, and I loved it, as long as the battery would last, which was about an hour. All 6 of those AA batteries. Still got it in the garage, actually, the Game Gear. And Batman Returns. I've lost the other games. Anyway, long story short, love the Game Boy. Bloody hell, went off on a tangent there, didn't I? Really like the Game Boy. Did I say I like the Game Boy? I do like the Game Boy. Like my Game & Watches as well. I've had a few of those over the years. Sold a few when I was going through hard times at uni, but yeah, that's another story. Then I see Gbstudio. Oh God! And if you haven't seen it, let me bring it up, because the guy who built this needs a bit of. Shush now. Where's that coming from? Shush. There we go. Yeah, this is how all my YouTube videos go. I'm not prepared. I don't plan for this stuff. I just do it on the fly and talk bullshit. So if you're new, hey, thanks, welcome, hi. If you've been here before, then you know the score. Right, so this is it. Gbstudio. Free, open source, doesn't cost a penny. It exports. It's drag and drop. You can design your games with the art, animations, even has the ability to write music, and it builds ROMs that run on the bloody hardware, but also export to the web. So itch.io. And now I kind of knew this because when I got my Game Boy Color and I got my cartridge, I didn't get this one of these dodgy micro SD card import things for ripping off ROMs. I got it because I discovered this whole sort of community of indie developers who were building stuff for the Game Boy. Bloody hell, it's a nightmare to get that SD card out. Anyway, so I kind of stumbled into itch.io, downloaded a few games for the Game Boy Color. Actually, they were for the Game Boy. I don't know. Running them on the hardware, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. So now you've got a tool like this that enables you to build games for unique old hardware. Let's be honest, this is really, really old hardware. It's cool hardware. There's part of the joy of actually developing for this is the restrictions of this, and we'll get to that in a minute. But like, yeah, just the abundance of games, and I was like, oh, I want to get in on this, but I'm already committed to Broken. I've already got this other project that I'm doing. So how can I convince myself this is the right thing to do without like committing to too much and delivering nothing? And this actually, I think, is the theme of this year for me. It's like I feel like I've committed to a few things and not delivered through no fault of my own. Partly because Raspberry Pis and Arduinos have let me down. Partly because Raspberry Pis, the cost of those things have gone through the bloody roof. They're not what they used to be, disposable PCs that were fun. Now they're like low-powered, overpriced PCs that you can barely get. Going off on a tangent. Stick to the story. So yeah, my way of getting around this was like, well, Game Boy, Broken, and Project. And where I was with Broken was like, well, it was becoming a bit of a test bed for me, testing out these nightmares. And the nightmares are the puzzles. They're kind of like the dungeons of Zelda. You got to work them out, complete the puzzles, and you get an item at the end of it. And I found myself sort of, say like using Unity as a test bed for that, which is actually quite slow and costly. And I thought, oh well, maybe I should try it on the Game Boy. That would be nice, quick and easy. And to some degree it is, but in other ways it's not. In good ways, in ways that I hadn't even considered. So I decided what I'll do is make Broken for the Game Boy and create a Broken Game Boy edition. Oh yeah. And I'll show you that now. So this, this is mental. By the way, like I'm 40. I grew up the Game Boy, as I say. My brother had the Game Boy. I never looking sort of. Where is it? Chris Maltby. What a hero! What a legend, frankly. Because this isn't finished, but I've got a game that I'm building on the Game Boy that runs off a bloody cartridge, which it's running on the proper hardware. This will run on the Game Boy, as well as the Game Boy Color. You can't really see that, the colours aren't picking up. But what a world, what a time to be living in, where anyone can essentially develop a game on multiple levels. You want your realistic 3D? Well, here you go. Unity, you can do that. Unreal, don't get me started on Unreal. Kind of regretting picking up Unity at the moment. It's like fucking hell, how that. The stuff they do with the Lux lighting, I think they called it. Amazing. So ultra realistic to, pixelated 2D and really restricted development. But all these tools are like free to pick up, play. You've got no reason not to do this stuff. That's what I find amazing. And the Game Boy, wow, this is really cool, because there is a bit of a movement, I think, or feel like, with Game Boys at the moment, because of this Gbstudio. A lot of people are popping up and developing games with interesting stories and approaches to games. One of which I want to show you. But yeah, so what I'm deciding, while this is loading, what I've decided to do is try and create some of the game mechanics in 2D. That was my idea. Here we go. I'm showing your screen, you bellend. So first of all, let's talk about that. Actually, before we get to anything, so the art, for example, really pixelated, as you could imagine, on quite an old device. Let's load up the game. That brought its own challenges. So you've only got 3 colours. You've it's full bits, but the 4th colour is transparent, which is useless really on a Game Boy. So you've got to create your characters, also your actors, any other actors, which you can see there, like that fuzzy thing is an actor. Your environment using 3 colours. You really got to think about how that all plays off each other. This character, for example, has to be black, because if he's green, you're just going to see a floating head. Shit like that. Like you think, yeah, of course it makes sense when you say it out loud. You see it. Hang on a minute. I just want to start at the beginning. Let's bring that over here. This is my character, so we're going to bring him into the living room, the bedroom. On the final game, he's going to start over here, and whatever we can do, he's going to start there. So Gbstudio handles the dialogue for you, which is really nice in this nice animated way. Pops up, pops down. Press A or B to continue the story. And this is what I liked about it. This is what I wanted to get actually, was like cement the story in the game, regardless of like what engine I'm using. Get some of the game mechanics in, like the ability to use the portal, which brings you back to your daughter's bedroom, which you need to return items to. There's these nightmares segments where you need to work out the puzzle and defeat the bad guy, if you like. And then there's the story element, which tells the story of you. And this is you running around. But actually, as you'll find out quite shortly, that you're in a coma. This is the sort of shit that happens if you don't pay attention. So where are we? All this on here is because I've got too many tiles, too many non-unique tiles on the game, and it breaks it. Small issue, I'll sort that out later. Doesn't matter. I've changed my art anyway. But this is cool, right? This is running on a Game Boy. I mean, I can drop this on my Game Boy. In fact, while that's happening, let's load that up again. So I get to tell my story in a really, really simple way. I get to map out the island. I need to work out parts like that, which is supposed to be like the where are we? We're over here. This is supposed to be a heartbeat animation going beep, 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 and you can click on it and find out more of the story. Yeah, so cool. I love it. I've totally lost track. This is because I've been out. I'm drunk. I'm tired. And I'm just talking shit through my game. But basically, there's a Game Boy game that I'm making. It's there. It's here. It's on the actual hardware. Got some challenges. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that art is one challenge. The fact that simple things that I think is easy to take for granted in game engines today, like a random number generator, which I need in this game. There is one. But rather than relying on some arbitrary way of coming up with a random number, for those who don't know, computers can't legitimately create a random number. They have to have something to use as a source or seed to create that random number. Like computers, for long computers these days, have all kinds of sources and means to come up with those numbers. Game Boys don't have a lot. And if I've understood this correctly, the way the random number generator is generated with Gbstudio is like when you launch the game, button presses from the user start generating that random number that you might need to call later. That's how I see it. I don't know if that's entirely how it works. Don't quite understand. Don't really need. I don't know if I need to know how it works, but I figured it out, which is important for one of the nightmares. Which actually, where is that bloody thing? Say what? Was I doing it on the laptop? Maybe I was doing it on a laptop. Let me just have a quick. Oh no, come on, because I had a whole scene there. No, it's here. So where the hell is it? Oh God, it's there. Yeah, okay, right, fine. Sorry, apologies. Again, drunken, stupid dickhead. Testing it out in this scene. But yeah, yeah. So the first nightmare is a stealth game where you have to sort of, it's like Squid Game. You have to sneak past the main actor, this demon guy that you can see on the screen. This one, I'm looking to try and create a sort of Simon Says type of game. So he's going to push a load of symbols to an object up here, and you have to repeat his pattern quickly, otherwise you die. I was thinking last night maybe a blade comes across, cuts your head off, and you fall flat in your face, which would play nicely into a pixel game I made years ago, which had that same theme, and I thought, oh yeah, I could maybe tie that in. Right, anyway, talking, rambling, mumbling, but basically working on a Game Boy game. I've got the Game Boy camera coming. I thought of the camera because a lot of the art, this for example, this is a legit picture I took of a pillbox, like pillboxes again, like if you don't really know, they were used in World War II, I think probably even one. Stick the gun out the little black hole there, shoot the airplanes. I'd imagine they're very, very small bunkers basically. Some of them had like turrets mounted on top, and they would shoot planes down. Loads of them around where I live. So this is a photograph I took years ago on my camera, and I had to use a tool online to pixelate it to make it look like, to make it work for the Game Boy. But I really like this aspect of introducing a sort of semi-realistic look and feel to it. A realistic look and feel. So there's going to be areas on the map that you can visit, and the pillbox is one of them. There's a radio tower. There's a bunker. There's this like old World War II refrigerator. All these places I've been to in real life, and I'm going to go there again with a Game Boy camera, take pictures of them, and use those for the game. So that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to bringing the old tech into the new world to make old games. And I've been doing a lot of research on Game Boy cameras. I mean, I'm going to have to be very, very careful with lighting and make sure to get this image, by the way, I really had to overexpose a lot of it just to get the difference, so you can clearly see the box versus the hill. What you've lost is the detail of the clouds and the grass, but there's no other way to get around it. Terminals, these little computers are going to be spread around as well, and they will tell you more about the wife's side of the story and what's going on with her. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. Also trying to wind down for Christmas. It's that time of year, isn't it? Anyway, 10:15. Rambling on for 23 minutes. Thank you if you've stuck with me for this long. Appreciate it. Hope it gives you some insight into the game, where I'm going, what's going on, just in general. Long story short, I'm not giving up on Broken, not the Unity build, but I really want to get this Game Boy version done. Broken Game Boy edition, whatever I call it. I want to get this done by New Year. I think I need to start working to deadlines by New Year. At least get like 3 nightmares in there. Maybe by New Year shouldn't be too bad, but I've got to work out how to do the music. I mean, it looks simple enough. I'm sure that's for another time. I'm not going to stick around on screen doing that now. Anyway, as I say, thank you for joining. I hope it wasn't too boring. Leave any comments below. you can't dislike the video no more because YouTube's taken that away. So you can only like it. Like the video. Yeah, and give us a shout on YouTube or Twitter if there's anything you want to ask or see more of. Until then, who knows, maybe a Kickstarter. Kickstarter for Broken. Look at that. Looks cool, doesn't it, in the old transparent case. Anyway, yep. Next time I'll try and be a bit more sober when I do this. See you later. Bye.